It's Wake Up Nigeria, people.
And today is World Tourism Day. Ayo Olumoko will be joining us to discuss the theme for this year, Sustainable Tourism in Nigeria, a tool for societal development.
And of course, will be talking to female undergraduates about some essential items for their school wardrobe. That's talking about those going back to school after the ASU strike.
Very essential. You know, there's so many new styles out there.
Yeah.
And finally, Tana Adelano will be joining us here for a chat. So can we continue
Looking forward to that.
Can we continue that conversation we started earlier on?
You look so lovely.
I've been planning.
You look so lovely this morning,
Don't psych me.
I shouldn't?
We should continue that conversation. We should.
Why should we?
Yes,
You want on
because
what?
Yomi was supposed to describe how he felt when his wife was going through the motions.
No. Let's let her
Yes.
fly. Let's
Well,
let it
you
pass.
see, with me, I'm usually able to tell. I have these feelers.
Okay.
So I'm able to tell how my wife is feeling and all of that.
Really?
And
Really perceptive of you.
and I also studied English.
Okay.
So I'm very sharp.
I don't understand what
I can turn
English
things around
language
very
has to do
quickly.
with-
I don't know.
Observing.
I'm still
understand.
trying
So
to.
she's like, baby, how do I look? And then you say,
Oh, well, darling, you look so beautiful this morning. My
Yomi's lying.
Still
What do you
talking
mean?
about. Still.
You think I would actually tell my wife that she looks fat? Like, I can't do that now. That's
Really?
I mean,
you can't?
Wait, there's a way you
I'll
can.
be sleeping
There's
in
a
the
way you can
doghouse for the
say.
next-
There's a way you
Anyway.
can say like, oh,
You should learn
baby,
from this.
I will.
Okay. I think you need to hit the gym. Or, baby, don't you think there's something? I'm just saying. Well, don't you think you just need to maybe trim down a little bit?
So what I try to say, I'm obese. I try to say I'm obese.
No, I would never do that.
I don't think you're going the right direction.
Still talking about women, something big happened yesterday.
Okay.
The ban on on women driving in Saudi Arabia has been lifted.
Oh,
And that was the only country in the world where women were not allowed to drive.
cars,
But now King Salman lifted the ban, and it's big news. Donald Trump has commented on it. The U.S. Department of State, he stated that Donald Trump, I'm talking about now, said that it was a big movement or a big step forward in promoting women's rights.
yeah.
And I think
Women's
it's quite
yes,
cool
very.
because then there's a woman that was this year she was fined and she was locked up for 73 days for driving.
For driving, yeah. And that's a move towards gender equality.
Let's not just go there now. You know that will take us a very long
Who's
time.
the one that
Should the
started
genders
this?
be equal? No, I say it's a good thing. You know, I mean, discriminating in that manner, I think it was too far. But then for a country like that was quite very cool.
But even till date, there are still so many companies that still pay the women less. They still give the women less responsibilities.
mentioned
They
this?
get promoted. No, they get
Quicker.
promoted a lot less quick, you know. The multinationals are taking the bull by the horns and they're making things happen. But in Nigeria, for instance, there's still so many places where the women are getting paid
I agree
less
with
than
you.
The multinationals are taking the bull by the horns and they're making things happen. But in Nigeria, for instance, there's still so many places where the women are getting paid
I agree
less
with
than the
you
men.
because I remember when the Wonder Woman movie was released.
Okay.
The star actress, I can't remember
Gal
her name
Gadot.
now.
Yeah.
Yes, the star actress. She was paid $300,000, and then there was an outreach that she did.
A huge
You know, she
role.
was pregnant.
No.
Doing the rehearsal stunts.
Wow,
She was
amazing.
pregnant actually. So for if it was a man that played that role,
would
a lot
have
of
earned
people
probably 10 times the amount,
exactly, and because she's a woman and because she's not American, and then
But you know, on Wake Up Nigeria, we support the women.
Yeah.
The woman is taking the news now. Eh?
Yay for girl power.
Girl power.
Hi, Fade.
Yeah, it's time for the news update.
Hi
with
all.
Fanny.
Well, good morning, Nigeria. On the news this morning, the Nigeria police has recorded a major victory in Ondo State by arresting a Boko Haram commander who had been declared wanted by security agencies. Known as Idris Babawo, the suspect is believed to be on the wanted Boko Haram terrorist list. And according to the Army Public Relations Director, Brigadier General Sani Usman, Babawo has been handed over to the Nigerian Army by the Ondo State Command. He says preliminary investigations show that the terrorist who hails from Bauchi State escaped from the northeast. Unrelenting in its efforts to serve the lawmaker representing Kogi West Senatorial District, Dino Melaye, his recall notice, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, sent its officials to the National Assembly on Tuesday. The lawmaker's office was under lock and key, and his aides were not around to receive the notice. The officials who dropped off the petitions received from Melaye's constituents to recall him waited while the lawmaker was in the Senate chamber. But before plenary ended, the senator had left the assembly complex. Just yesterday, Melaye had said the 90-day deadline set for INEC by Section 69 of the amended 1999 Constitution had expired. And upon resumption, the House of Representatives says it is willing to revisit some parts of the Constitution, such as the devolution of powers. This follows calls by Nigerians on the need to redefine the political structure of the Nigerian Federation. In his speech, the Speaker, Yakubu Dogara, stressed that the House will make consultations and act in line with what the majority of Nigerians want within the confines of the law. The Central Bank of Nigeria, the CBN, has again maintained all current monetary policy rates. The CBN Governor, Godwin Emefiele, disclosed this at the NPC meeting held in Abuja, where he said after tough debates and deliberations on advice from experts, the committee voted to retain all current monetary policy rates as it forms part of factors that led the country out of recession. He added that interest rates will be retained at 14%, cash reserve rate ratio at 22.5%, and liquidity ratio at 30%. And that's it on the news this hour. Let's take a look at the day's weather.
We're back again for the sports update. Mike is right here.
Okay, and 23 goals were scored last night as the second match day of the UEFA Champions League kicked off. Harry Kane stole the headlines with his first hat-trick of the competition as Tottenham defeated Apoel in Cyprus. Cristiano Ronaldo scored a brace in his 400th appearance in the competition to take his tally for Madrid to a whopping 411 goals. Liverpool were unable to take their chances in a 1-1 draw against Spartak Moscow. Let's enjoy the highlights from yesterday's matches.
The action is the goalkeeper gave himself far too much to do. And it's Spartak Moscow 1, Liverpool 0. All eyes on Loris Karius, picked to play in goal for Liverpool ahead of Mignolet.
Well, Karius has had nothing.
This is Mane. His right foot drives low.
Safe
goal scorer there, Fernando. But this is a good run by Liverpool and an equaliser of Coutinho. Half an hour play. Suddenly Coutinho gets involved. We see a bit of magic, and Liverpool are level.
Well, talk about emphatic. You won't see a better, more confident finish. Joy or elation, but inside you'll be thinking.
Henderson with the chip in. Oh, it's come to the far stick of Firmino, and he didn't realise it was going to come through to him.
Well, that's because it was a bad bit of defending. He should have dived and headed that away. He didn't know.
Pumping his legs to get up on the right side of the penalty here. Pushes it into the middle. Salah right. Oh, goodness me!
Ronaldo is just a machine. And then the International Olympic Committee has approved climbing for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, but will allow only 20 athletes. Now, this means that Olympic hopefuls will need to compete in speed climbing in order to qualify and compete for a medal in 2020. So, what exactly is speed climbing? We've got an exciting preview as Edinburgh hosted the Sport Climbing World Cup.
Within time of under 7 seconds, speed climbing can claim to be Olympic Games' fastest sport. Speed climbing is one of 5 sports that have been included in the program for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, along with baseball, softball, bowling, karate, surfing and skateboarding. On Sunday, Edinburgh hosted the latest round of the 2017 IFSC World Cup. Italy's Ludovico Fossali won the men's event after Russian Stanislav Kokorin committed a false start. But in the small final, it was a much closer affair with Italian Leonardo Guntero winning in a time of 6.25 seconds, beating Russian Alexandra Shikov by 0.03 of a second.
Ready.
In the women's event, Frances Anok Gerbert was triumphant in the final, beating Maria Karasavina of Russia. Karasavina's compatriot Lulia Kamplina claimed 3rd place after overcoming Poland's Anna Bruskin. The next IFSC World Cup event is in Wujian, China.
All right, Titi mentioned that there are spiders there. That's it on
Yeah,
sports.
like
You guys enjoyed that, right?
Spider-Man.
Strange sports that you guys are.
But this is cool.
Last week was
Does
was
whatever
the
a
stairs.
spider can.
It was the stairs
Yeah.
climbing, right?
Yeah, stair climbing.
And this
and
time
then
is
Yeah.
climbing
the wall and climbing the fence.
All right,
Okay.
straight to the
Newspaper headlines.
papers.
Let's start off with The Guardian. It says here, government Afenifere Arewa youths, others disagree over pro-NACO. Yoruba group cautions federal government against military coup. Speakers and others meet in Imo over state of the nation. That's the main story there. And it also says here, Senate upholds IPOB ban, reshuffles leadership of committees. And also, despite tax holidays, e-commerce firms make losses. Subsector cuts 800 jobs in 2 years.
All right, and then on the cover of The Nation this morning, we've got restructuring. Reps vow not to surrender power. And then Agbakoba, the power is Buhari's, on the cover of The Nation. And then Ajimobi, security chiefs to meet over shooting that occurred over the weekend. And then police arrest Boko Haram chief in Akure. And then finally, INEC dumps documents at Melaye's office. All on the cover of The Nation this morning.
On the cover of The Punch, it says EFCC chair court flooded with 17 suits over Magu. You can read up about that on page 7. Also, Ambode unveils Awolowo statue, hails the late sage style of governance. That's on page 6. A BA, that's British Airways, sacks stewardess for racist rant against Nigerian passengers. That's one to look out for on pages 4 and 5. And wives not the cause of P-Square's rift, according to Keamo, and that's on page 41 of The Punch.
And then on the cover of the Daily Sun, we've got IPOB, Senate Southeast governors to meet Buhari as lawmakers unite against violent agitations. And then minister gives more insight into groups ban. And then, of course, I'm still on the cover of the Daily Sun, Buhari won't negotiate with workers, minister. And then Obaseki briefs president on Ogbazu attack. And finally, drama as INEC delivers Melaye's recall notice documents. All on the cover of the Daily Sun. It's time for us to take a short break, and when we return, we'll talk about sustainable tourism after this. Welcome back. Now, tourism is an economic and social phenomenon that has experienced continued growth and diversification to become one of the fastest growing sectors in the world. The theme for World Tourism Day 2017 is Sustainable Tourism for Development, and it presents a unique question on Nigeria's tourism sector. Of course, let's take a look at this report by Ozi Okoli.
Tourism, an activity that provides information, accommodation, transportation, and other essential services, is usually celebrated every 27th of September. As a sector, tourism is a valuable source of livelihood for millions of people. It thrives around the millions of cross-cultural encounters happening every day in different corners of the world. Tourism is a veritable means of livelihood for millions of people, but it is yet to achieve its full potential in Nigeria.
Tourism has not been so fine with Nigeria, and presently, Nigeria earns about the least in Africa from tourism. And that's what we are saying. We professionals in tourism and hospitality, we are looking at how can Nigeria up her game in tourism and hospitality potentials. Look at Nigeria compared with Kenya, for instance. As of 2014, Kenya is earning 2.060 billion from tourism. And Nigeria having a greater potentials, and with the largest number of cities in Africa, then why can't we earn more money?
Presently, more than 1 billion tourists travel to an international destination every year. These billion tourists have made tourism a leading economic sector by contributing 10% of global GDP and 6% of the world's total exports.
Because tourism is a long-term thing. You don't invest in tourism today and get money immediately. But if you give things like tax holidays, say the first 5-10 years of a business, because all tourism investments are capital intensive. So if you give a tax holiday, I know that for the first 10 years I'm recuperating I'm getting back my money. So, and because there's a tax holiday, people would invest heavily in tourism. And tourism industry itself, it's a large industry. It covers various aspects of our life: hospitality, transportation, the markets. Because what we call multiplier. We are going to get the multiplier effect from the tourism industry once the proper investment is done. So if you give a tax holiday, everybody invests in tourism, and so the country benefits from it. That's from policy.
Despite security challenges all over the world, much has not changed in the data put together in 2015, which shows the leading tourist nations of the world.